Hey everybody, welcome to Frontline Football. And as you can see, because I'm doing the intro, I won this week, and I have a special announcements thing to make. As the Frontline Football Predictions Winner Trophy has officially arrived. It's in my possession this week, but it could change hands depending on who wins predictions each week. Look at it, it's glorious. It's got the ribbons and a nice top. But this is the trophy you'll see passed around week to week between all of us for whoever won the predictions, the most games right. So that's basically the gist of the trophy. You'll see it every video. And roll the intro.
Welcome guys to Frontline Football. I'm Zach. We're going to start out with the San Francisco 49ers versus the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to take this one. I believe that the Niners will beat the Titans because this Niners team is hungry for the playoffs and they are still trying to clinch. I understand the Titans are also, but the Titans team has had a lot of injury problems and the Niners have too, but the Niners are getting people back. Hopefully Brandon Ayuk has a good game, Deebo Samuel. So there's a lot more game changers on the Niners team than there are the Titans team. Jack?
I'm also going to have to go Niners here on the road. I don't really trust the Titans as of late. They're getting A.J. Brown back. They have Julio Jones back. Actually, I think Julio Jones may have gone back to IR already. I'll update you on that at some point. But overall, I still like the Niners' talent better. They got, like Zach said, Deebo Samuel. They got George Kittle, Ayuk, the O-line. They could create a run game with pretty much any running back or wide receiver at this point. And overall, the Titans, they just haven't been able to be productive offensively, and I think the Niners have. That'll be the difference here. The Niners will win this game. What are your thoughts, Josh?
Well, I gotta go with the Tennessee Titans winning this game here because the Titans are fighting for first seed. Of course, they may be injury prone, but they're in a very tight division with the Indianapolis. So I think that the Titans, this is a must win for them, and I think that they are.
Our next matchup is the Cleveland Browns versus the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to hand this one off to
Wait, who did you call on for this one?
Paul Josh.
Okay. You cut out in the middle. Sorry. So for this game, I'm going to have to go with the Green Bay Packers here because, just like I said about the last team, they're fighting for the first seed in the NFC. And I think that they've already clinched the playoffs, but right now they're going for that bye. They already have the tiebreaker against the Cardinals if the Cardinals are going for first seed. So they got that under control, but now they need to make sure that they're to get to that first seed. They clinched now. Now it's time to get that bye. So I think they're going to beat the Browns this and they're going to win. So I'm going to hand this one off to Zach for his take.
I have the Cleveland Browns beating them. This duo of Nick Chubb, maybe even Kareem Hunt. I don't really remember if Kareem Hunt's back, but Nick Chubb by himself can run all over this Packers team. It's happened before. It's probably going to happen again. The run defense for the Packers has always been god-awful, and I believe that Nick Chubb will use that to his advantage and get a lot of fantasy points this week. Jack?
I'm going to go Packers here in Lambeau. It's Christmas Day, I think, which is kind of cool. But overall, Packers, they need a number one seed, and they got a lot of people in their way of the number one seed they're looking for. Tampa Bay may be 2 games out now because they lost to the Saints, but they still got the Rams, the Cardinals, and the Cowboys a little bit. So they're trying to clinch up that bye. It's crucial for that team because Aaron Rodgers is not young, so they kind of need the bye more than the other teams do. Plus, I just trust the Packers a little more. We'll see. I think the Browns, they got a chance depending on how many people they can get off the COVID list this week. But I think it'll just depend on how many people they get back. But I'll take the Packers here.
All right, our next matchup is the Arizona Cardinals versus the Indianapolis Colts. This is going to be on Christmas. I think it's going to be on the night. I think it's going to be nighttime for Christmas. So, yeah, I'm going to go out with mine. Cardinals. I'm not being rude. I am really nice to this fan base. I love this fan base. It's just this team needs to get their shit together because I'm tired of watching them lose every single game that's like a bad game. We've lost to the Panthers. We should have beat them. We lost to the Lions, which was a disgrace. You guys got outcoached by Dan Campbell. That is a disappointing loss. I still will go with you guys for this week because I feel like we couldn't get the offense going without DeAndre Hopkins. Hopefully Cliff put the square peg into the square hole, not the freaking circle like he did in the freaking Lions game where no DeAndre Hopkins. You better beat them because you are fighting for the first seed and you need to keep up in this first seed race. Jack.
This one's close, but I'm going to bet on the Cardinals here to have a bounce-back game. I don't 100% trust them, but they're now lost 2 straight. I think they eventually have to figure it out, how to live without Hopkins. I think they're going to get James Conner involved a little bit. I think they're going to start to use Rondale Moore a lot more, hopefully get him a true role in the offense for these last couple stretches of games. I do think Jonathan Taylor's still going to run a lot, and I think the Colts defense will keep them in it, but ultimately I think the Cardinals really need this game. The Colts also really need it to stay up in their division race, but I think this game is going to be the most interesting one, probably of the week, but I'm going to go with the Cardinals to win it, get back on track with them finally starting to figure it out again on their offense. What are your thoughts, Josh?
Well, I gotta go with the Indianapolis Colts here because they're in a very tight division race in the AFC. And the Cardinals have been a tailspin. They saw the playoff clinching spot and they just have sputtered wherever they saw it. So, not only will Jonathan Taylor be breaking a record in this game for most single-season rushing touchdowns, he will also be winning and getting his team one step closer to the seed that is very in the AFC and NFC. Now, the Cardinals, I do believe, may win next week, but this week is just not the with Jonathan Taylor going to have a is my prediction, and it will be a Christmas miracle for everyone to see on national television. So give me the Indianapolis.
All right, our next matchup is the Baltimore Ravens versus the Cincinnati Bengals. This is going to be a really good matchup. I'm going to hand this one off to Josh.
Give me the Cincinnati Bengals here, because just like Joe Burrow had said in an interview, they have not had much COVID because there's not much. Thanks, Cincinnati, for being boring. Y'all are going to win this game because the Ravens have just been so injury battered that it's not even a real team anymore. They have Tyler Huntley starting at quarterback. No shade at Huntley, but it's no Lamar Jackson. I mean, Lamar Jackson may be returning this week. But it's just been injury after injury after injury. And while the Bengals have been inconsistent, I think that the will be winning this game. So, Jack?
I'm going to go with the Ravens here and an upset. Yeah, I guess it is an upset. I think while the Bengals are starting to turn it around again, they're starting to figure it out, I think the Ravens actually did pretty well against the Packers, all things considered. If their head coach maybe makes a different choice instead of trying to constantly go for 2 and lose them games, we could be talking about the Packers dropping a game and the Ravens getting a big upset with this Huntley guy. I don't think he's that bad. I think he played pretty well in the Ravens system. I think he's going to show it here in Cincinnati, get a big upset and much-needed divisional win to retake the North. What are your thoughts, Zach?
I have the Bengals here. I can see a Ravens win, but I saw the performance against Green Bay. It was a very solid performance by that backup quarterback. He brought it all out there. But I believe that this Bengals team will, number one, they're fighting for the playoffs, and you cannot drop a game in this division, or else you are basically out of this playoff race now. And they are right now leading, and if they can get the win over the Ravens, then they will be having a very serviceable lead against the other division opponents. So I believe that the Cincinnati Bengals will beat the Baltimore Ravens. All right, our next matchup, it's going to be a tank bowl. Let's go. And I'm going to hand this one off to Jack.
I hate to say it, but I think I have to pick the Jets. I don't really like picking the Jets at anything as of late, but this game is going to be the best tank game of the league so far. The Jets have most of their team on COVID. The Jags don't have most of their team. And both teams don't have a head coach, so that's going to make it extra fun. I think it's going to be messy, but I think the Jets are going to finally get Michael Carter involved in their offense again. And I think they'll do enough to stop the Jaguars. Maybe James Robinson's going to go for like 200, but I think ultimately the Jets will still get the win here. They'll get the win, screwing themselves out of one of the cool edge rushers that's coming out, because this kind of happened last year. So I'm taking the Jets here. What are your thoughts, Josh?
Okay, the Jaguars can't stop taking beatings here, so I'm going to have to go with the New York Jets because the Jets just have a better lineup. They have a better coaching staff. They just have a better everything. After the Urban Meyer era, which we may be making a video about soon, about all of that, what we just saw. Great news for us. Terrible for a team. So, with this no head coaches, it's basically as even as it can be. I think that the Jets, there's just they have, and just how good they are compared to how bad the Jaguars have been this year. So give me the New York Jets. Zach?
Is Zach Wilson playing for the Jets, Jack?
I think so.
Alright, cool. That still doesn't matter for my decision. I'm choosing the Jacksonville Jaguars to beat the Jets. I understand that they don't have a head coach there, but the Jets also don't have a head coach. There's a lot of there's a lot of things that are going in this game, and I'm just looking at the talent on both teams. I believe that there is more talent with James Robinson than there is on that whole entire Jets offense. No offense, Jack. But I feel like the James Robinson's just gonna run all over the Jets this week, and the Jets won't be able to stop him. So give me the Jags. Next matchup is actually a really interesting one. It's gonna be dealing with playoffs, and I'm gonna hand this one off to Jack.
Bills, Patriots 2. Oh my. I'm sorry, Buffalo. I tried to take you last time, even though I thought Patriots were a better team. I'm not making the same mistake again, trusting you guys to do anything properly. Good job beating the Panthers with whatever the heck is going on over there. It's kind of beautiful to watch, but ugly, very ugly at the same time. I'm taking the Patriots. They lost to the Colts, but they were in it at the end. They started to close the gap. And the Bills don't have a Jonathan Taylor. They don't have any running game, actually. That's kind of been their big issue. But I trust New England's defense more. They're going to get a bounce back here, and they're going to kill Buffalo's hopes of reclaiming the East. I don't like the Bills right now. I still don't trust them. I don't care that they bounce back against the Panthers. I'm taking New England here to win. What are your thoughts, Zach?
I'm gonna say it. I think the Bills are actually gonna beat the Patriots. The last game was really difficult for both teams, and the only reason why the Bills couldn't get their offense going is because of the wind. If there was no wind conditions, I understand there's going to be wind conditions here, but if they're not as bad as it was during the Buffalo game last time, we are going to be perfect. The Bills will be perfectly fine. Now, the defense is still a very, very good group, and I feel like the Bills will have a little bit of struggle, especially having no Jonathan Taylor. Like Jack said, they have no running game. So I believe that the Bills will win. If they can't beat them here, there's no more excuses that they have. So, yeah. Josh?
I gotta go with the New England Patriots here because of two words: rush defense. You cannot have a quarterback pass for only 19 yards and still let them win with them rushing for 260 yards. That's not how you win football games. And I don't care about the win. I don't care about any of that stuff. The Bills' defense has shown time and time they can't defend against. They need some kind of presence before I can call them even a Division 1, let alone a Super. They have so many problems on that team. Chop up all day. I don't care if Josh Allen looks good. He's looked good all this time. The Bills' defense is what is going to kill them in this game because the Patriots' defense will do their job. Mac Jones will be serviceable. Their running backs will do their job. The Bills' defense is what is going to lose the Bills this game, and also their lack of to help alleviate some of the pressure from Josh Allen. So give me the New England Patriots here.
All right, our next matchup is the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Houston Texans. Josh?
The Los Angeles Chargers are going to be winning this game. The Los Angeles Chargers are fighting for playoffs. The Texans are fighting for Hutchinson, which we aren't getting Hutchinson anymore, so I really like if we can get anyone. Hopefully next year we get Deuce Vaughn. Deuce for Heisman. Go follow. So, yeah, I think that the Los Angeles Chargers will win because the Texans and the Los Angeles Chargers. So I'm getting this one.
You hand it off to?
ZACH, Zach.
All right, I have the Chargers beating the Texans. This is kind of easy. I feel like all of us are going to sweep on this one. Just the Texans are such a bad team that Justin Herbert's going to have a great game. Any Chargers player is going to have a great game, except for Mike Williams, of course, because he never can get a good game here and there. Jack?
I'm going to go with the Chargers. Now, I'm proud of the Texans for absolutely destroying the Jaguars again for some reason, but it's the Jaguars. You know, the Texans, they're looking for bigger things. They're looking for draft picks, even though now they lose the tiebreaker with the Jags. That's fine, though, but ultimately, the Chargers, they're going to come into Houston. They're going to take care of business. I think they'll win easily.
All right. Next matchup is the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jack?
I'm taking the Chiefs. I hate the Steelers. I understand they beat the Titans last week. Good job. I guess you barely beat them, and they don't really move the ball well on offense. I don't care that they won against the Titans last week. The Chiefs are just significantly better. I don't think I don't think the Steelers are keeping up with the Chiefs in Arrowhead with seeding implications on the line. I think this is when the Steelers season is going to end. Right here, right now, the Chiefs are going to strike them down, and with a win, with either the Bengals or the Ravens being forced to win that division game, someone's going to start to pull away this week. And I think the Steelers are going down to the Chiefs this week. What do you thought, Josh?
Well, along with the Steelers winning that week, we have a really weird stat to bring up. So Ben Roethlisberger, every single time that there has been a new Spider-Man movie has been released, he's won that game. It's happened 2004, 2007, 2018, 2019, and 2021. That's a very weird stat I want to bring up. But, yeah, the Steelers are not winning this game. The Chiefs probably are going to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl this year. And all the parity that we've had this year will just all go out the window. But I think the Chiefs are really fighting for something, and while it was very impressive that the Steelers could beat the Titans just could not get it done on offense, and that made the defense look good. So, while I do believe that the Chiefs will be giving the Steelers, will be winning this. So I'm going to hand this one off to Zach.
Well, I have the Chiefs beating the Steelers, and the Chiefs will clinch the playoffs. They'll be the second team probably to clinch the playoffs. Well, actually, if Cardinals win, then they're going to be the third. So that's good for them. So this Chiefs team is a lot better than the Steelers team, and I'm not even going to stay long on my take. I think Jack and Josh kind of got the point across that the Chiefs are probably going to be representing the AFC in the Super Bowl, with hopefully Cardinals in the NFC. So red versus red. That'll be kind of sick. So yeah. Our next matchup is the Denver Broncos versus the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm gonna hand this one off to Jack.
I'll take the Raiders. I still don't like the Broncos. I don't care. I watched half of that game last week and it was awful. Drew Lock, 4th and 9, game on the line, and he threw the ball 10 yards out of bounds. I don't know what the thinking was behind that, because even if you throw a pick, the game is still over. It's not like you were going to get another shot. I'm not going to question the mind of Drew Lock, but there's a good chance that he's the franchise quarterback for this week in the Broncos world. The Raiders lost to them. I think they lost to them last time. They kind of got their season back on track with an ugly game, and Cleveland hit a game winner. I think it's going to be a similar scenario here in Denver. It's not going to be a lot of offense here, but Drew Lock's going to do enough to help the Raiders win this game. What are your thoughts, Zach?
You chose Broncos, correct?
Oh, I chose Raiders.
I also have Raiders here because, yeah, this is gonna be a horrible matchup, and I didn't really know who to decide for half of the time, but sure, Raiders is the best pick right now because they have Derek Carr and nothing else. So, Derek Carr, gosh.
I have the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm just looking at all the stuff just to make sure. But I think that the Raiders, it was an ugly win, but they beat the Browns. And I think that now the Broncos, their record is 7-7, but and both of them are 7-7, I mean. But both of them are two completely different sides of 7. One of them is how did you make it up here, and the other struggle this year. It's a relief that they're 7-7. So I gotta go with the Las Vegas Raiders winning here because I don't know.
All right. Our next matchup is the Philadelphia Eagles versus New York Giants. I'm gonna hand this one off to Josh.
Okay, I gotta go with the Philadelphia Eagles. They really need a bounce back after. Well, no, they actually won last time, so they don't need a bounce back, but they need to make sure to keep in this very tight second place division race for the NFC between them and the football team. So this is going to be decided probably in the next 3 weeks of who will be representing probably the 7th seed or just missing out on the playoffs between the Eagles and the football. So this will be a very matchup right here that probably has a big amount of division implications, so I have to go with the Philadelphia Eagles. Jack?
I'm going with the Eagles because this morning I read somewhere that Jake Fromm was going to start for the Giants. Jake Fromm, I mean that guy from Georgia and the Bills like 3 years ago. I don't know when he went to the Giants, but there's no way I picked Jake Fromm to win an NFL game against a team that's trying to get into a wild card spot. I just don't believe in it that much. I think the Eagles are going to get to a winning record, I think, if they win this game. And I think they're going to take that opportunity, not waste it. They'll get the job done, get over 500, and start to push for the last wild card spot in the NFC. What are your thoughts, Zach?
I have the Eagles here. I think that this Eagles team, like you guys have said, they're fighting for this 7th seed, and it's a very tight race. It's not even having the football team mostly in it. It's actually the Saints and then the Vikings and a little bit sometimes of the Falcons. So this is really an awkward situation because Saints win, then they're kind of dead. The Vikings win, they're dead. So this is just dependent on all those 3 teams and who's gonna make it in. I believe that the Eagles will beat the Giants because they need to stay in this race. So, yeah. And also the Jake Fromm stuff that Jack said. Our next matchup is the Atlanta Falcons versus the Detroit Lions. Jack.
I'm going to go with... This one's actually going to be a good game now that the Lions are starting to push together. I'll go with the Falcons still, though. I still don't really like the Lions, and apparently Jared Goff is staying on the COVID list. He may not be cleared for Sunday, and that's really rough for the Lions. Now they got to get a backup in with the struggling offense. But ultimately, I think because Dan Campbell coaches his team up, I think they'll be able to stay in this game for most of it. But I think ultimately, Cordell Patterson will help the Falcons pull away and get the win here to improve to, I think, 7-8. They're kind of out of the race, meaningless win, but it's going to be a win for them nonetheless. What are your thoughts, Josh?
I have to go with the Detroit Lions because if you watched the last week's video, I actually did choose the Lions to upset the Cardinals, and it happened. So the Lions, I just want to go with them again here because, well, Atlanta, they're a good team. Dan Campbell, like I said before, will get his players to jump off a cliff for him. He just has built an amazing culture there. Just unfortunately, his players can. So it looks very bad on him. So I gotta go with the Detroit Lions here. So give me the Lions winning this game. Zach?
Oh, the Falcons. The Lions should not be a franchise at all. They've lost way too many times that they don't probably deserve to be a franchise. Just God, I love Dan Campbell as a head coach, but God, this Lions team is so annoying. It's so bad, even though they have such a good head coach. That no, they should be real. If there was relegations, we should move Alabama into the freaking NFL before we put the Lions here again. So that's my opinion on that. Yeah, this Falcons team's also kind of good. They got Kyle Pitts, they got Matt Ryan. Hopefully next year we'll see Calvin Ridley again. So, all right, our next matchup is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Carolina Panthers. I'm gonna hand this one off to Josh.
I gotta go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. Brady needs a comeback game after being shut out for the first time in a while in his career. He needs a comeback game. The Saints have just destroyed him every single time in the regular season, and this game is really gonna either help or hinder Tom Brady's legacy right here. So I gotta go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jack?
I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers. Okay, as I was saying, I'm gonna go with the Buccaneers here. The Bucs need a good punching bag, and one happens to walk in Carolina. I still don't know what's going on there. Sam Darnold's coming back apparently. They don't really have a lot going for him right now. I think the Bucs need this bounce back game, and I don't think it matters that Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Leonard Fournette missed the game. I still think they can win it with ease. They'll get the job done here, and they're gonna get the win.
All right. I'll go. I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah. They have a really solid team. The Saints are always just their kryptonite at this time in the year. So, yeah, I think that this Bucs team will do really well. And hopefully they'll get the win against Carolina. If they don't, then this is really scary for the Bucs, especially going into the playoffs and Brady's not looking good. We've seen this story before. Brady doesn't look good, and he balls out in the playoffs. So, all right. Our next matchup is the Minnesota Vikings versus the LA Rams. I'm gonna go. I have the Vikings beating the Rams. I like this Vikings team. I think Dalvin Cook is gonna run all over this Rams defense, and I feel like this Rams defense is not what really helped. The Rams defense does help them a lot. It's just mostly this offense that has been cooking up teams. And I believe that this Vikings team can beat this Rams team, especially with Dalvin Cook, Jay Jetta, Adam Thielen might be back, and Kirk Cousins is doing really well. So I believe the Vikings will beat the Rams.
I'll go Rams. I don't trust the Vikings that much. I think the Rams won their matchup last week. Or that was yesterday. Both of them won in very unconvincing fashions against bad teams. So basically, I think it could go either way. But I trust the Rams slightly more than I trust the Vikings because I know the Vikings already have issues with consistent offense. So I'll take them to win here. Give me the Rams. What are your thoughts, Josh?
I have to go with the Los Angeles Rams here. Just like I've said for almost every single division, they're in very tight division races because if you haven't realized yet, we only have 3 seasons. So these division races have been the closest that they will ever in, I think, my lifetime. Probably everyone else. This is probably the tightest division race that any of us have seen in the NFL at this time of year. So this is going to be interesting. It's going to be a great photo finish. And the Rams are going to win here because they got to keep up in their division. And just like Jack said, consistency. The Vikings don't have it. So I trust the Rams just a little bit more to just stay consistent.
All right. The next matchup is the Seattle Seahawks versus the Chicago Bears. I'm going to hand this one off to myself. And I have the Seattle Seahawks beating the Bears. This is already, I feel like we're going to sweep on this one too. Because Russ is back to cooking somehow. The kitchen's weird. The kitchen's closed and open sometimes. But it's open for this matchup because the Bears, and I believe that we've never given the Bears a win on our Frontline Football thing. So, Seahawks just play better than the Bears usually. So, yeah. Jack?
I have to go with the Seahawks. This is the moment of the Seahawks season now where they don't have the draft picks and they don't really care, so Russell Wilson is going to beat the crap out of some innocent bad teams, and it's going to reassure their fans that if Russell would have been healthy all year, that the season would be totally different, even though I don't think that's true. But here's to the Seahawks getting some meaningless wins here, and they're going to start out that trend by beating the Bears. What are your thoughts, Josh?
I have to go with the Seattle Seahawks here because, well, I do believe that all Russ has to do is just cook just a little bit and he'll beat this team. And Nagy is just such a bad play caller. I don't know why he hasn't been fired yet. I think him and David Culley will be the coaches out of the door this year. There may be other surprise firings. Maybe Anthony Lynn may get fired from Detroit. But Nagy is going to be one of those people fired this offseason. And, yeah, they're going to lose here to the Seahawks, who have at least a somewhat functional team, while the Bears are just completely dysfunctional with Fields being destroyed every single week, and there really being no hope for them.
All right, our next matchup is the Dallas Cowboys versus the Washington Football Team. Josh?
I got to go with the Dallas Cowboys here because the Dallas seed, and I think every single team besides the Packers is 10-4. So it's very close this year, and I know that the Cowboys with the Packers, so they need to win on Sunday Night Football here. I'm going to hand this one off to Zach.
Well, I already had the if my everything comes true on mine, Cowboys would right now have the first seed because I'm choosing Cowboys to beat them, and everyone in the NFC will have 11-4 records that are leading their divisions. Yikes! This is gonna be very interesting. If my stuff comes true, this is gonna be a very interesting ending of this playoff race, especially because Dallas and Arizona face off against each other next week. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. But yeah, I don't really need to talk about this game too much. Dallas just has a way better offense and defense than Washington does. Sometimes Washington's defense is a little better than Dallas, but the offense is so powerful that Washington's defense can't hold up. Also, I don't think Heineke's going to be playing either for the Washington offense. So, yeah. Jack?
I'll go Dallas pretty easily here. I don't trust Washington. I think their season's pretty much over. A lot of their playmakers got COVID. A lot of their team got COVID, and they're still trying to get most of their players back. They were another team that had a massive outbreak of COVID. And I think this means the the Cowboys will get the job done here. They'll take care of business here. Try to lock up the NFC East. They're pretty close now. I think they'll get it sooner or later.
All right, in our final matchup, this is going to be Monday Night Football. I don't know if this is going to be the last one, or I don't really know. But it's the Miami Dolphins versus the New Orleans Saints. Jack?
I'm going Dolphins here. They're the hottest team in football, I think, officially now. So good for them. They went from 1-7 to 7-7. They've worked their way back up. I think they're getting better. They'll get some people off the COVID list, hopefully. And ultimately, the Saints, I don't think they're that good of a team. I think they're just good at beating the Buccaneers in the middle for whatever reason. I don't think it matters. They gotta beat the Bucs, and then they can go back to being mediocre. But I think the Dolphins get the job done here. They move to 8-7, and they make things kind of interesting in the wild card hunt as of right now. Give me the Dolphins. What are your thoughts, Josh?
I have to go with the Miami Dolphins because this is the time of the year where they get the playoffs by a little. That they didn't make the playoffs, even though if you see the teams that they were facing, the Ravens are the only really good team that they face, and most of the times Tua has been helped by his defense to keep it in. to keep in the games. So I don't really understand all this hype around Tua all of a sudden. That's just me. I think that it's being a little bit too overrated, but this is the time of year where they get those 10 wins and then people because they won their last 10 games or something like that, even though they have no right to be there. So give me the Miami Dolphins here. Zach?
Dolphins have been playing solid football for the past couple weeks, and I said that they were gonna get 10 wins, and they're only 2 games away. If they win here, they're only 2 games away from getting 10 wins. Their schedule kind of gets easy too. They play the Titans and then they play the Patriots. I believe that this Dolphins team will get 10 wins, and I believe that Tua is playing the best football he has since Alabama, and he's playing really solid. I understand he hasn't played the best teams. He's played Houston. He's played Baltimore. He's played the Jets, Panthers, and Giants, and then the Jets again, and then now he's playing the Saints. I believe that Tua is still now forming into a great quarterback into this league, so not top 10 or probably like a good top 20, top 15 quarterback. So, yeah. Alright, that does it for our video. I'm gone. Just making sure. Okay. That does it for our video today. If you liked it, hit the like button. If you dislike it, they're starting to remove the dislike button, but if you dislike it, hit the dislike button. It doesn't really matter to us. It's just we're happy that you made it through this whole entire video. So yeah. Jack, hit the plugs.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Right there, as always, Frontline FB, or we'll put the links in the description. As always, hope you enjoyed this week's predictions. We're pretty close to playoffs now. Seeding implications going to start to heat up in the next couple of weeks. We'll be here for all of it. See you guys then.
Yeah.